It's now been 20 years since the second tier of English football was rebranded as the Championship. And that got me thinking, what does the all-time Championship table look like? Going all the way back to 2004 to the modern day, I've compiled what the Championship table will look like based on the top 24 clubs that have accumulated the most points in the second tier during that time frame. Obviously, there are multiple ways you could configure this table. If you were to do it off points per game, it would look a lot different to the table I'm about to show you. But I feel like this table gives a shout out to those Championship regular teams that over the last 20 years really have made the Championship into what it is today. So without any further ado, here's the all-time Championship table. Starting out in 24th, we've got West Brom, and to be fair to the Baggies, it's impressive in itself that they managed to make the top 24 of this ranking, especially considering they've only had 8 seasons in the Championship since 2004. I think 3 promotions in that time, but in total they've accumulated 619 points in their 8 Championship campaigns. That's an average of 77 points a season, which is really decent going. 23rd on the list, we've got Barnsley, who have definitely been a Championship regular over the years, a total of 13 campaigns in the second tier since 2004. 664 points they've accumulated during that time. Now, in more recent years, Barnsley have become a little bit more of a yo-yo club, haven't they, between League One and the Championship, but for a good, 10 years, they were a properly fixed Championship outfit, weren't they? The best Championship season Barnsley have ever had came back in 2020/21 when they finished 5th under Valor and Ishmael, but as of right now, have never been promoted from the Championship as it's known today. Next up on the table, we've got Blackburn Rovers, and since being relegated from the Premier League back in 2012, Blackburn have been a pretty fixed side in the Championship, haven't they? They've only had 1 campaign out of the second tier since they were relegated from the Premier League, spent 1 season in League One, but immediately bounced back up to the Championship. During that time, they've accumulated 672 points in the Championship and ever so slightly have a negative goal difference. Coventry have had a really wild ride over these last few years, haven't they? But since 2004, they have enjoyed 12 campaigns in the Championship, have a negative goal difference of 86 in that time, but have accumulated a total of 680 points. You'd definitely say this current iteration of Coventry is definitely the best state the club's been in for quite a while. Leicester's time since 2004 has been perfectly split between being a Championship and Premier League club, 10 seasons in the top flight and 10 seasons in the Championship since 2004. They do make this table in 20th place with a total of 692 points. 2 promotions for Leicester in that time, 2 really outstanding campaigns. Obviously, last season under Maresca picked up 97 points, and that promotion they had under Nigel Pearson when they picked up 102, also worth remembering as well. Wolves, another team like Leicester, who have enjoyed 10 seasons in the Championship since 2004, accumulated slightly more points than the Foxes during that time, a total of 713. One of the best sides in Championship history, I think that side Wolves that got promoted back in 2018 was under Nuno, and since that point we've not had them back in the Championship. They've firmly established themselves as a top flight club since then. 18th on the list, it's Sheffield United, who have also enjoyed 10 campaigns in the Championship since 2004. Now, over the last 20 years, the Blades have been absolutely all over the place, haven't they? 10 seasons in the Championship, but quite a few years they spent in League One, and then they've had a handful of years in the Premier League as well. Back in the Championship now, in what will be their 11th campaign in the second tier since 2004. 17th on the table, we've got Burnley, who have enjoyed 11 seasons in the Championship since the formation of the league, a total of 787 points they've accumulated in that time, with a massive plus goal difference of 132. The last Burnley side to be promoted from the second tier is, I'd say, definitely the best version of Burnley we've ever seen in the Championship under Vincent Kompany. Will be very interesting to see if they can get anywhere close to that level next season under a new boss. As we climb the table, we're starting to get into a few of the more Championship regulars. 16th place, it's Hull City, who have had 13 campaigns in the Championship since 2004, 806 points they've accumulated in that time, but do have a slight negative goal difference at -4. 15th on the list, it's Millwall, who have had one more season in the Championship than Hull have had since 2004. Few more points on the board, 817, but that goal difference of -81 doesn't look too pretty. Taking the 14th spot, it's Norwich City, who have made quite a name for themselves in recent history of being that yo-yo club between the Championship and Premier League. 12 campaigns they've spent in the second tier since 2004. In that time, they've accumulated 846 points, which is an average of 70 points per season, which is really decent going. In 13th place, it's Watford, who are slightly better off than Norwich, but worth taking into consideration that Watford have had one more season in the Championship than Norwich have. 876 points they've accumulated during those 13 campaigns. Couple of promotions on the board during that time as well. Slap bang in the middle of this table, it's Birmingham, who won't be playing Championship football next season after being relegated to League One. 15 out of the 20 seasons Blues have spent in the second tier. They've accumulated 879 points in that time. Obviously, under the previous ownership, Blues were never really that competitive. They had God knows how many consecutive finishes of 17th or below before they were ultimately relegated. Got the feeling with Blues, though, that the next time they do get themselves back up into the Championship, they will be a lot more ambitious under the new ownership. I absolutely love the fact that even in an all-time Championship table, Bristol City are still in mid-table. Now, as of recording, Bristol City, along with QPR and Preston, are the longest-serving Championship club. They've had a total of 15 campaigns in the Championship since 2004, and they've got 881 points in that time. Making it into the top 10, we've then got Sheffield Wednesday, also with 15 seasons in the Championship under their belt since 2004, a total of 883 points, so slightly more than Bristol City in the same amount of seasons. Wednesday have had quite a few playoff heartbreaks in there as well, haven't they? Coming in 9th place, it's Nottingham Forest with 15 seasons of Championship football under their belt. I know that more recently they have managed to establish themselves as a Premier League club just about, but for the vast majority of time that the Championship has existed, Nottingham Forest have been one of the staple second tier clubs, really, haven't they? 919 Championship points they've accumulated in total, but Forest fans still enjoying themselves in the Premier League for the time being. Taking the 8th spot, it's Leeds United, who have had 14 seasons in the Championship since 2004. Went very close to promotion last season, but just didn't happen for them. Throughout Championship history, Leeds have had quite a few mediocre campaigns, it's fair to say, but on top of that as well, there have been some outstanding seasons. Those 2 years in the Championship under Bielsa, even last season they accumulated 90 points. All of that goes into that overall record, having accumulated 951 points in total. Interestingly though, slightly higher than Leeds United, it's Middlesbrough. They've each spent 14 seasons in the Championship since 2004, but in that time, Borough have accumulated 20 more points than Leeds have, 971 in total. They also have quite a superior goal difference as well at +140. As we get into the top 6 though, this is where we really get into the all-time juggernauts of Championship football. I'm talking the teams that are in the second tier year in, year out. In 6th place, we've got QPR, who have spent 17 of the last 20 seasons playing in the Championship, accumulated 1,027 points in that time. Now, to be fair to QPR, they have had 3 seasons spent in the Premier League in that time, but for the vast majority of their recent history, they have been a Championship club. Currently got the tag of the joint longest serving club in the Championship as well, along with Preston North End, who take the 5th spot on this table. 16 of the last 20 seasons Preston have spent in the Championship. The other 4 seasons were spent playing in League One, and I mean, what's really gutting as a North End fan is the fact that we are the highest team on this overall table that's never played in the Premier League. We've gone close on multiple occasions, but it's just never happened for North End. In the 16 seasons we've had in the Championship, we've accumulated 1,030 points. For context, that's an average of 64 points per season, which would have us as a mid-table Championship club, and let's face it, that's where we are. Taking the 4th spot, it's Ipswich Town, who have been bumped up thanks to the miraculous season that they had last year. Like Preston, Ipswich have also spent 16 of the last 20 seasons playing in the Championship. 4 more points than Preston they've accumulated in that time, have a slightly better goal difference as well, but last season really was the cherry on top for Ipswich, and I mean, I can't wait to see them in action in the Premier League now. Third place on the list, it's Reading, also with 16 seasons in the Championship, and I mean, say what you like about Reading, but something in the Championship, it's not quite the same without them. Obviously, they're currently in League One. I do hope it's not too long before they do get themselves back together and playing in the second tier. Obviously, still hold the record for the record point tally in the Championship with 106. We say it every year when we get a top team in the Championship that, oh, maybe this is the year where someone breaks Reading's record, but no matter how many fabulous sides we've had in years gone by, no one's come close to touching that. Taking the second spot in the all-time Championship table, it's Derby County with 17 seasons spent in the Championship, and this is why I'm glad to have Derby back in the Championship after a couple of years spent in League One. The Championship's just not the same without Derby County. They are one of the ultimate Championship clubs. 1,092 points they've accumulated in those 17 seasons as a Championship club, obviously. 1 promotion to the Premier League in that time and 1 relegation to League One as well. Very interested to see how Derby do next season. But coming in at the top of the pile, it's Cardiff as the ultimate Championship club. They've spent 18 of the last 20 seasons playing in the Championship and have collected a massive 1,221 points during that time. Since the formation of the Championship, Cardiff have never been relegated. They've got 2 promotions under their CV during that time as well. But they love the Championship so much that they were instantly relegated. Both times they did get promoted to the Premier League. Cardiff averaged 68 points on average, and since 2004, no club in this league has accumulated more points than they have. There you have it though, guys. That will now wrap it up for today's video. Thought this one would be a fun one to dive into. Any clubs that you thought would make the cut which didn't quite, drop them down below. But apart from that, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. If you did go in to enjoy, make sure to leave a like, and I'll see you all in the next one.